Now, if you've used InDesign before, you might have run into a problem where there was an object behind another object, and you couldn't select it until you moved the top object out of the way. For example, let's just say we had a circle here, and it was all the way at the back, and it's right behind this top photo here. Now, how do I select that if it's not selected already? Can I click this or click in here somewhere? I can't, right? So I have to move that out of the way, move that out of the way, and then I can select it. Well, there's a workaround, and this is one of the many reasons to become familiar with the Layers panel. So go ahead and go to Window and then Layers, and by default, all the objects on a page are in just layer 1. They're just in one layer by default, but they are ordered within that layer. And so if I wanted to select that object in the back, I can actually click this box right here on the right, and then it selects it. And then I can click and drag the edge there and bring it over here. So whenever we go to the Arrange function, Object, Range, bring to front, bring to back, bring forward, send backward, it reorders the objects here in the Layers panel, and of course on the page as well. So if I wanted to bring this to the top, I'd go to Object, Arrange, bring to front, or use the keyboard shortcut, and now we see that it's at the top here. It's that one called Oval. We can also adjust the visibility of objects on here, so just click the eye icon and we can adjust the visibility of any of these placed images or illustrations or shapes and text that we've inserted in here. And it can be helpful to add new layers for organization. So if I click the Create a New Layer icon on the bottom of the Layers panel, if you don't see this, again, click from the dock over there or go to Window and then Layers. And so the icon on the bottom looks a little bit like the Create a New Layer icon in Photoshop, of course. So I'm going to click that, and it's called Layer 2. If I double click it, I can then name it something, and I can also lock it if we didn't want to edit it. And we can even toggle so it wouldn't print, and we can set the color to it. This color just means that whenever we select something on there, it will indicate in the workspace what we have selected. I'll show you what I mean. Let's just take this oval here and click and drag it from here up to here. So we're putting it in this top layer. So this is the only object so far in this layer 2. And so we could do, let's say, this line as well. Click and drag that up here. Target it first, click on it, and then click and drag it up here. And then we've got line and oval in this top layer. So now if I select it, see the red border there? So that just indicates that I've selected that. And the same thing here if I clicked this one as well. And then if I clicked any of the objects in layer 1, it will have a blue border around it, just to differentiate between the layers there. One helpful shortcut, if you hold Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac and then click Create a New Layer, it will go ahead and bring up that dialog box already so we can name it. So if we wanted to put all of our photos in a specific layer, we could name it that, for example. One thing to take in consideration whenever we select something, for example this line here, you notice we have it selected, it's in layer 2. If I go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, it will go to the back, but only of that layer. So it is below this oval here that we've drawn recently, but it's not below anything else. That's because this layer 2 is above the photos layer, which is currently empty, and then the layer 1, which has all the other objects on this spread. So if you want something all the way to the back, you need to make sure that it's in the layer that's on the bottom here as well. If you do have multiple layers, unless you just have layer 1 by default and everything's in the same layer, then of course we could send it to the top or the bottom pretty easily without worrying about which layer it's in. We can also lock layers here. If you click that, then it's not editable. I can't click it and move it around. And if your layers panel looks like this, just click this double-sided arrow here and that will bring that out. We can also delete layers if you click and drag them to the trash can, or just select them and then click the trash can. And there are a couple more options on the top right corner. For example, we can create a new layer here and also duplicate layers and so on. So hopefully that's helpful as far as not just stacking objects in one layer, but if you want to organize them and also selecting images that might be below other photos or other illustrations and text boxes without having to move things out of the way. So thanks, and we'll see you in the next lesson.